This is an iPhone 13. Connect to charger and turn on. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth can't turn on. Wi-Fi button is in gray and can't turn on. And it keeps spinning in Bluetooth setting. It shows this is a 256GB iPhone 13. Wi-Fi address also shows not available, but modem firmware is okay. Press 06 in dial keypad, and we can see device info. So the baseband work normally. After these tests and considering the customer's feedback, we can confirm that the problems with this iPhone 13 are as follows. There is no Wi-Fi or Bluetooth functionality. The baseband can operate, but its performance is unstable. Additionally, the battery drains very quickly. If you can learn from this video in the end, please help to thumbs up. We will keep update. We can sure it hasn't repaired before when we open and check inside. The wrinkles on the battery indicate that mobile phone has been severely dropped. And only mainboard problem can cause no Wi-Fi and no Bluetooth. Since this mobile phone has been severely dropped, we need to carefully check whether there are any signs of deformation or cracks on the motherboard. Fortunately, the motherboard is intact. However, as the iPhone 13 also features a double-layer motherboard design, and the components responsible for managing Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and signal are located on the lower layer motherboard. Therefore, we need to separate the motherboard to find out where the problem lies. Mainboard heating station for separating. After gently touching to sense that the solder joints of the upper and lower layers have melted, you can separate the two layers. First, let's check whether there are any signs of missing solder joints on the upper and lower layer connections. The solder joints on the upper layer look normal. The joints in this area of the lower layer are black, while they should normally be shiny. We need to examine the lower layer motherboard again to ensure it is not deformed. By referring to iPhone 13 schematic diagram, we can see that most of these blackened points are connected to the Wi-Fi chip with only a few connected to the baseband. This verifies that the loose soldering of these points can result in no Wi-Fi and occasional signal loss. Next, let's measure whether there is any electrical leakage in the upper layer motherboard alone. As we can see, the current is normal. Let's observe the lower layer motherboard under a microscope again. The lower layer motherboard mainly contains components such as Wi-Fi modules, radio frequency units, basebands, and power amplifiers. After examining the appearance of the lower layer motherboard, no abnormalities were found. We still need to measure the resistance values of the power supplies beside the Wi-Fi baseband again. All the resistance values are normal. Some of these black spots are caused by loose soldering due to severe impacts, while others are the result of oxidation. This loose soldering prevents the CPU from detecting the Wi-Fi baseband on the lower layer motherboard. As a consequence, the Wi-Fi button appears gray and cannot be turned on. In the phone settings, now, we can only patiently and gently scrape off the blackened parts until the shiny solder points underneath are exposed. Clear with PCB washing water and continue. Clear again and continue scraping off. Apply soldering flux, then use soldering wick to run over these solder points. Finally, clean all the solder points and check whether they are all thoroughly cleaned. Similarly, apply soldering flux to the upper layer motherboard and use soldering wick to level all the solder points. Clean all the solder joints on upper layer. Planting tin ball on lower layer board. Melting all the tin ball by hot air gun. Put soldering flux on solder joints and thermal grease on a 15 CPU. When you touch and feel a little elastic, it's solder well. Colder it with fan. Clean and clear it with alcohol. Connect to power supply and check. There is no more electrical leakage. Then we assemble foams and all parts back. Assemble screen and put in pressing module. Screw back the bottom screws. Turn on iPhone 13 and test all functions. Wi-Fi button can turn on now. Bluetooth can work well too. All other functions can work normal as usual. Thanks for watching. All phone parts and tools are in TiVo.